Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, if you're a focused learner looking to take your English from simple, everyday communication to absolute, razor-sharp academic precision, well, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're going to completely unpack the mechanics behind C2 adverbial time clauses. We're moving way beyond basic vocabulary to figure out exactly how these complex, highly logical relationships in time are actually built.
Let's kick things off with a quick question. Take a look at this sentence. I will call you when I will arrive. Now, if you listen to everyday conversations, you're probably going to hear people say this all the time. And honestly, it feels kind of logical, right? You've got two future actions, so you use two future tenses. Makes sense. But in the world of high-stakes C2-level academic English, this sentence is actually structurally flawed. It contains a classic trap that catches even the most advanced speakers. So, keep this sentence in the back of your mind, because by the end of our time together today, you won't just know that it's wrong, you're going to deeply understand the underlying architectural rules of exactly why it's wrong.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover adverbs versus adverb clauses, building advanced time clauses, mastering subordinating conjunctions, core rules and punctuation, advanced exceptions and pitfalls, and then we'll wrap up with a quick C2 mastery check.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, Adverbs versus Adverb Clauses.
Let's start with the absolute basics, the simple adverb of time. This is really just a single word or a short phrase that points to when an action happens. We're talking about words like now, yesterday, today, or little phrases like at 5 p.m. or in 2026. Now, don't get me wrong, these are highly functional and we use them constantly, but they're also pretty limited. They basically just point to a spot on the calendar or a tick on the clock. They don't really provide any deep context, narrative, or cause and effect relationship.
But now, consider the real C2 syntactic upgrade, the adverb clause of time. This is where your writing goes from standard to truly dynamic. An adverb clause doesn't just rely on a single word. It uses an entire dependent clause to show when something happens. And I really want to emphasize the crucial elements here. To be a true clause, it absolutely must contain both its own subject and its own verb. It's like a mini sentence inside your main sentence. Plus, it is always introduced by a very specific type of connector called a subordinating conjunction.
Moving right along to Section 2, Building Advanced Time Clauses.
Let's turn this abstract grammar into a concrete, easy-to-use formula. Here is a super simple three-step process you can replicate anytime you're writing an essay or giving a formal presentation. Step 1. Identify and remove that basic, simple time word from your sentence. Step 2. Replace it by adding a subordinating conjunction. That's your connector word that sets up the relationship. And step 3, flesh out that new timing relationship by adding a brand new subject and verb.
Okay, let's actually see this transformation in action. Take a look at the basic version. I will come tomorrow. It's totally fine, but tomorrow is incredibly vague. It really lacks detail. Now check out the C2 upgrade. I will come when I finish my work. See what we did there? We removed tomorrow, added the conjunction when, and threw in the subject and verb I finish. Suddenly, we aren't just talking about some random day on the calendar anymore. We've established a clear condition and timeline. We've completely dramatically increased the precision and academic quality of that sentence.
Here's another one. Basic form, he left yesterday. Again, kind of flat, right? But look at the upgrade. He left after the meeting ended. This is just a brilliant illustration of how we can take a generic time marker and inject it with cause and specific detail. The action of leaving is now directly tethered to the context of the meeting. And let me tell you, this is exactly the kind of nuance that examiners look for in the IELTS or TOEFL, and exactly what professors want to see in university papers.
On to Section 3, Mastering Subordinating Conjunctions.
It's actually pretty fascinating how the conjunctions when and while dictate entirely different types of time. When usually points to a specific singular moment or a completed action. Like, I will call you when I arrive. It's like, boom, a specific point in time. While, on the other hand, is all about duration. It's about continuous background events. While I was studying, the phone rang. You see, the studying is this ongoing background canvas, and the phone ringing is the sudden action painted right on top of it.
Next up, we have our sequence connectors, before, after, and as soon as. These are going to be your best friends for establishing a really rigid, logical timeline. Before and after obviously rank actions very clearly, but I really want to draw your attention to as soon as. This is such a fantastic, punchy conjunction that shows immediate sequence. As soon as the bell rang, students left.
It conveys an urgency and an unbroken chain of events that simple words like then or next just literally cannot match. Wrapping up our deep dive into conjunctions, we've got until and since. These are absolutely perfect for framing durations and origin points. Until marks the end point of an ongoing action, like you keep waiting right up to the exact moment I return. Since, conversely, marks the starting origin point of an action that continues forward. She has improved since she started practicing. Trust me, using these precisely is a massive hallmark of C2 mastery.
Section 4. Core Rules and Punctuation. Okay, let's test your instincts for a second. Think about your own writing. When you use a word like when, or after, or while, where exactly does the comma go? Like, do you always even need one? Take a mental guess right now before we reveal the answer.
Well, the golden rule here is all about placement. If your adverb clause is in the initial position, meaning it kicks off the sentence, it absolutely demands a comma to separate it from the main clause. When I arrived, he was sleeping. But if you flip it and drop that adverb clause in the final position at the end of the sentence, the conjunction itself actually acts as the bridge. Therefore, no comma is needed. He was sleeping when I arrived. It's a surprisingly simple mechanical rule, but honestly, getting it right instantly elevates the professional look of your writing.
Now let's lock in two absolute non-negotiable structural rules. Rule 1, as we've noted, is that your time clause has to have its own subject and verb. But remember, it's still a dependent clause. It literally cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. If you write, when I arrived, with a period, that's just a sentence fragment. And Rule 2 is incredibly important when we talk about tense relationships. If your main clause is hanging out in the future tense, your time clause actually has to step back into the present tense.
Section 5, Advanced Exceptions and Pitfalls. All right, here we are, back to that sentence from the very beginning of the explainer. I will call you when I will arrive is completely wrong, and now we know it's because of Rule 2. Future tense is literally never permitted inside the time clause itself. The main clause, I will call you, already establishes that we're operating in the future. So the time clause, introduced by when, just needs the simple present tense, when I arrive. This avoids awkward redundancy, and it's a super strict rule in formal English.
Now, here's a much more subtle trap, confusing an adverb clause with a relative clause. Look, just because you see the word when doesn't automatically mean you're looking at an adverb clause. Take a look at the first sentence. I left when the meeting ended. This is clearly answering the question, when did you leave? It's an adverb modifying the verb. But check out the second sentence. This is the time when I left. Here, when I left is actually describing the noun, the time. It's acting as an adjective. Crazy, right? Understanding this nuanced structural difference is exactly what separates an intermediate learner from a true C2 master.
So how do we push this to the absolute limit? We combine these time clauses with complex perfect tenses to push your syntactic fluency to its absolute peak. Take the past perfect. I had left before she arrived. Using the past perfect had left strongly emphasizes that my leaving was fully completed deeply in the past, way before her arrival. Or what about the future perfect? She will have finished by the time you come. This beautifully expresses that at a very specific future moment, an action will already be in the completed past relative to that moment. I mean, that is some incredibly sophisticated timing logic right there.
Finally, Section 6, C2 Mastery Check.
Okay, time to put you on the spot. Take a quick look at these two sentences. Wait until I will return versus wait until I return. I'll give you just a few seconds to recall those structural rules we just went over and see if you can spot the critical tense consistency error. Which one is the flawless C2 level sentence?
If you went with wait until I return, nailed it. You absolutely avoided that future tense trap. Because wait is an imperative pointing to the future, the time clause introduced by until has to stay strictly in the simple present tense, until I return. Mastering these adverbial time clauses isn't just about memorizing a bunch of grammar rules from a textbook. It's about gaining the architectural tools to express your ideas with absolute clarity, precision, and authority. So as you go about your day, I want to leave you with this thought. The very next time you sit down to write an email or an essay, how are you going to upgrade your next sentence? Use these structures, completely ditch those basic adverbs, and show off that C2 mastery. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in this explainer, and keep learning.